happiness of the human being must, in any society, be an end in itself. The empowerment of the ordinary people of our world freely to determine their destiny, unhindered by tyrants and dictators, is at the very heart of the reason for the existence of this organization.
Conventional learning was already pushed out of date to a large extent, so it's just trying to make schools much more creative and I wish I could ask you the same question, but I think
Look, I think the most important thing about running a company is to remember all the time what a company is. A company is simply a group of people, and as a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, you have to be a great motivator, you have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people. People are no different from flowers. If you water flowers, they flourish. If you praise people, they flourish, and that's a critical attribute of a leader. There is a very thin dividing line between success and failure. Most people who set up in business without financial backing, they fail at some times in their lives. And I've only just stayed at the right side of that dividing line. For instance, just after we had a record company, I was fed up flying on other people's airlines. I felt that the experience of flying on other people's airlines was an unpleasant one, and I decided to set up an airline. Our bank went into complete panic attack, and when I came back from doing the inaugural flight of Virgin Atlantic's very first flight from London to New York, I came back to find the bank manager sitting on my doorstep and informing me that they were going to close Virgin down on the Monday, and this was the Friday, and that I had 2 days to effectively pay them off the monies that they'd loaned us. And I remember pushing the bank manager out of my house, telling him he wasn't welcome, which is a dangerous thing to do to your bank manager, and then spending the weekend ringing around the world to all of the distributors of our music, asking if they could give us a temporary loan to get us through the following week, which they were good enough to do. And by the end of the week, we'd changed banks. We'd actually managed to find a bank that was willing to lend us 30 times the overdraft facility that our bank had lent us, and we managed to survive. And I think the moral of that story is actually don't think of your bank as somebody that you're beholden to. I mean, people just don't move from one bank to another. Sometimes you need to be willing to step up and move your banks in the same way that you should step up and move your doctor on occasions. Anyway, I learned from that lesson. Virgin does work very well without me. I mean, I used myself to build the brand, to build the sort of 300 or 400 companies around the world. But I also learnt the art of delegation. I have a fantastic team of people who run the Virgin companies, give them a lot of freedom to run the companies as if they were their own companies, give them the freedom to make mistakes. And the Virgin brand is now maybe one of the top 20 brands in the world, well respected. And when my balloon bursts, Virgin will continue to flourish. And maybe I had the icing on the cake on occasions. Maybe I'll have to spend a bit more money on marketing. But fortunately, Virgin is in a state where it can live on healthily without me.
One of the threads throughout your story, which shocked me, surprised me, and inspired me in many ways, was this continual desire to move on to the next thing and make things bigger. You know, even when things seem to be successful by anyone's estimation, you pushed on again, and then you'd push on again and again. Do you have any idea where that instinct or that characteristic came from in you?
I'm sure that came from my mum. But it's also, I think, because I was dyslexic and pretty hopeless at school, I've forever been trying to prove something to myself and prove something that, when she was alive, to her and my dad. I'm inquisitive. I just love learning about new things. Once I've actually absorbed everything there is to know, apt to want to move on and learn something about something completely different, particularly if I feel other people are not doing it well. And so I just love diving in there and trying to shake up an industry that is badly run.
My dyslexia really helped me become a really good delegator, and I think that's been one of my great strengths. So I've had to find brilliant people around me over the last 50 years in all the different ventures we've done, and be willing to give them a lot of freedom to do good things and freedom to make mistakes, and by and large it's worked, and that's freed me up to worry about
the next Hyperloop One.
Well, the next projects, but also just to look after oneself, and spend time with one's family, and be ready to troubleshoot when something goes wrong. So not to get bogged down by the minutiae. People who use the I word too much put people off, and rightfully so. If you're in a team of people, it's very important that you talk about us or we, or try to avoid the I word unless it's absolutely necessary. And your business is likely to excel as a result. I think with the coming on of AI and other things, that there is certainly a danger of income inequality.
And that's coming. You think that's going to happen?
There's no question it will. So we've got to come up with ways of creating new jobs, but I think a basic minimum earnings for everybody, so that there's nobody that is having to sleep on the street.
So guaranteed basic income or universal basic income. You like that?
100% think that's really important.
I think entrepreneurs do play quite a big role in sorting out the problems of this world. And I think, if they're given a challenge, entrepreneurs often overcome those challenges. And I've spent 55 years of entrepreneurialism, or whatever the word is. And, it's been a lot of fun. You're out there competing to try to improve people's lives, and if you can improve people's lives, you've got a business, and you can pay the bills at the end of the year. So investing in businesses that really are improving people's lives are likely, I think, to be more successful in the years to come than those that are just taking people for a ride.
As a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, and you have to be a great motivator. You have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people.
Hello, entrepreneurs. If there's one piece of advice I could give you all, it's to start that business. No matter who you are, where you're from, give that idea a try. There are so many resources and like-minded people out there. Don't be afraid to try something new.
A company is simply a group of people, and as a leader of people, you have to be a great listener. You have to be a great motivator. You have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people. People are no different from flowers. If you water flowers, they flourish. If you praise people, they flourish. And that's a critical attribute of a leader. Virgin does work very well without me. I use myself to build the brand, to build the sort of 300 or 400 companies around the world. But I also learnt the art of delegation. I have a fantastic team of people who run the Virgin companies, give them a lot of freedom to run the companies as if they were their own companies. I give them the freedom to make mistakes. And the Virgin brand is now maybe one of the top 20 brands in the world, well respected. And when my balloon bursts, Virgin will continue to flourish.
My normal day starts waking up quite early, maybe about 5 o'clock. Get my emails done in bed generally before Joan wakes up. Then I try to keep up with the news because we've got 1 or 2 organisations that are doing global issues, so it's very important I know what's going on in the world. And then go for a walk or a run or maybe go to the gym and then head on down for a game of tennis. Now come on, here comes the rain. Yeah. I will come down and kite surf if the wind's up most days. So just, even if it's just 15 minutes, it's great for the whole body, it's great for the mind, and it's great fun. Yeah. After a wonderful kite, I'm gonna go and grab some breakfast, have a shower or a bath, and then do a bit of work.
I think work should be fun, it should be enjoyable, it should be satisfying. I think too many companies don't realise the monotony of a lot of people's day-to-day life at work. And I think with a lot of people try to encourage things like working from home, or people want a job share, they should be allowed to job share. So just more flexibility generally. Now, I've never had a desk in an office since I was a teenager when I started Virgin Records. I prefer to work in a bath or on a hammock, on a sofa. And occasionally I even get interesting telephone calls whilst in the bath. I think perhaps the most interesting telephone call was when Nelson Mandela phoned me in the bath. He told me that a chain of health clubs in South Africa had gone bankrupt, that 5,000 people were about to lose their jobs, and he wanted me on the next plane to come to South Africa to save them. Through social media, I keep in touch with the world, I keep in touch with what other people are doing. Social media has been a revolution, and one that I think I've embraced. I mean, the balance of work and play is critical. And I think a lot of people don't get that balance right. I'm 63 years old now, so critical to find time for yourself, get out there and keep fit. And I find the best way of keeping fit is by playing. I try to encourage our chief executives worldwide to make sure that there's as much flexibility in the workplace as possible. We've set up something called the B team, which is examining the way companies treat their staff and trying to make suggestions to make the dignity of work better than it's been in the past. If you're too close to a situation, like in an office, you get bogged down with the minutiae. If you can step away from the situation, you can think about the bigger picture, and that's what I'm able to do on Necker. The most extraordinary people come to Necker. The Elders was conceived here on Necker with Archbishop Tutu, with President Carter, with Kofi Annan. The Carbon War Room was conceived here, an organisation that tries to work with industry to try to extract carbon out of the Earth's atmosphere. Sitting in my hammock looking up at the stars at night, things like Virgin Galactic. So a great place to think and a great place to conceive ideas. Well, we had a fantastic day. It was a Sunday, so it wasn't all work. So a great way of capping off the day. Watch the Super Bowl with a cup of tea and a chip. Cheers.
Looking for the best in people. People are no different from flowers. If you water flowers, they flourish. If you praise people, they flourish. And that's a critical attribute of a leader.
Being a leader is one thing, but having to be a leader and run a company on your own is a game not many want to play. It's important to create a team that sees your vision and want to help you accomplish it. Plus, it'll help grow the business and let you know that you have a group of people who have your back, and are willing to put the extra work in to make your company successful. Lesson 3. Do not let your challenges define you.
Strangely, I think my dyslexia has helped in the business world in that, in that because I have had problems when I was younger communicating. I need, for instance, when I'm launching a new company, I need to be able to understand the advertising. If I understand the advertising, I believe that anybody out there can understand the advertising, and therefore Virgin speaks in a more direct.
Richard Branson is a big believer in dreaming big and being an innovative leader that his employees can trust to get the job done. Richard Branson has proven to the world that you can have roadblocks in the way of your dream, but as long as you keep going, you can achieve literally anything.
I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now, I'm an adult in a spaceship.
In this video, we'll cover the 5 lessons we learned from Richard Branson that taught us about.
For the next 10 years, I'm in a position where I really can make a difference, and I'm determined to make a difference.
Richard is also a well-known philanthropist and advocate for many different causes. He has helped over 28 different causes, ranging from gender equality and LGBTQ+ rights to climate change. He believes that with the success he has, it is only right to want to help others. Which one of these lessons will you use to help make your future brighter? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with new videos.
The happiness of the human being must, in any society, be an end in itself. The empowerment of the ordinary people of our world freely to determine their destiny, unhindered